Hi, welcome to the course of Mastering ASP.NET 4 using C# from scratch. My name is Kameshwar Sharma. I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer, and in this course I'll be covering various topics of ASP.NET to help us to develop dynamic websites using ASP.NET. So I have just listed out the various topics that I'm going to teach in this course. In the first three sections, I'll be demonstrating it to you how we can create basic web pages using ASP.NET by using various standard controls what ASP.NET is providing to us. And once we are actually happy with the kind of pages that we have developed in the first three sections, then I'll show you how we can validate the data what is being entered by the user in the forms. And then we'll actually move on to the data-bound controls, so where we'll be speaking to the SQL Server as a backend to our ASP.NET. Then I'll show you in section 6 how to create some navigation controls like tree views and menus and how we can attach them to our web pages. Then I will introduce you to using Ajax functionality in our web pages. Also, we'll look in section 8 the various data persistence techniques we have in ASP.NET like view state, sessions, cookies, applications, and URL query strings. And then in section 9, I'm going to introduce you ADO.NET, which is the main library we use to develop data-driven web pages. So we'll be using SQL Server as a backend to our web pages. So then the lessons 10 and lesson 11 will be mainly focusing on data sets and data reader, which are basically the main components that we use to store the data what comes from SQL Server. And in section 12, we'll also see how to work with data views, so where I'll show you how we can filter the data sets in an easy way by using data views. In section 13, I'm going to explain to you how we can perform bulk insert and bulk update operations. So wherein if you have to really dump a lot of records to the SQL Server in one go, you might actually pass that whole string as an XML string to the SQL Server stored procedure. So we'll see how to do those operations in section 13. In section 14, I'll explain to you how to work with the parameter directions and how to have the transaction support in C#. And also in section 16, we'll see the different caching techniques we have in ASP.NET, and we'll also talk about file dependency caching, SQL Server dependency caching, data caching, page output caching, and all those things. And then in section 17, I'm going to show you the different state management techniques we have in ASP.NET, like SQL Server state management and ASP.NET state management techniques. Then we'll see how we can create our own user controls, our own custom controls, and we'll then see how to work with the membership and role management by creating a custom membership provider. Then in section 21, I'm going to show you how we can create our own skin files and how we can attach them to our web pages to have good consistency in look and feel across our web pages. Then in section 22, I'll show you how to create master pages, and in 23, we'll see how we can create web services and how we can consume web services. And we end this course by introducing you to the various new features that Microsoft has released as part of the ASP.NET 4.0. So like this, in this entire course, I'll be covering these topics to you one by one. So let's actually go ahead and try to create our very first website with some messages that we would like to print it onto the browser.